Welcome back, everyone, to the Weekly Win. My name is Ken, and I'm here with my co host, Tim.
Hello, everyone.
We have some very interesting topics up for discussion today, so let's get started.
Okay, let's talk about China first. China's having some fun. What are your thoughts on what's going on in China currently in terms of being communist?
Oh my gosh, there's so much we could talk about. Um,
They just
let's
celebrated a
try and
hundred
pick things.
years.
Let's try and pick things that won't get us banned off YouTube immediately. Check out
Too
this
late.
video on bitchshoot.com.
Too late. Banned.
Uh, yeah, let's talk a little bit about Hong Kong. That's been a hot topic, and then it cooled off a lot. Thinking
Yeah,
people are starting to care less and less about it. Maybe we should bring it back to the forefront. What do you think?
I think so. I was following the Hong Kong story every day for 4 months, reading everything I could because the people's fight for Hong Kong liberty is incredible. They're out there waving American flags saying that they want the freedom that we have in our country. Meanwhile, everyone here is like, we want to be communist. And it's like, you people you're stupid. Everyone else in the world wants to be us. Why would we want to be like them?
I don't know. It's mind-boggling to me. You look and you see all the centrality there. Like you can open businesses up that only the government approves of, which isn't that much different from here. But you know, beyond the point,
Yeah,
why would people want to live like that? You see their tall, like high rise condominium buildings where they house hundreds and thousands of people. Of course, I'm being a little hyperbolic, but again, it suffices to uh show the point. That's what I'm looking for.
yeah. And
That it's not all great in China land right now.
China keeps passing laws cracking down on Hong Kong freedom. Their national security law. They've been banning any sort of gatherings and such because they know that as soon as people start gathering, they're going to be plotting against China, in which I don't blame them.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting too. Uh, it shows just how much power the people really actually do have over there. And
Yeah.
I think that's a reminder to the American people that hey, we're we're not so different. We hold the power here. It's not the government.
Yeah.
The other
Well,
way around.
speaking of people being terrorized in China, the Uyghurs, the Muslims, they're having a bad time. There was
Yeah,
actually,
aren't they in Xinjiang where they do the not do where they produce most of their cotton?
yeah, I mean, it's actual slave labor in camps. There was a BBC documentary actually where a guy went around and the Chinese government tried to show like the good side, air quotes, of the camps that they're like teaching camps and like summer camps. Like imagine if Nazi Germany showed like the media around Auschwitz. But it's like, no, no, no. These are great conditions. Thumbs up. They get to go home on the weekend. Thumbs up. Except there's no actual evidence of any of that. And
That's
then as soon as
terrible.
BBC like started sniffing, China had to kick them out. Eh,
Again, man, I think it just proves that they're afraid of the world seeing something that maybe they don't want seen.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, do you want the world to see that you're putting people in camps to kill them off or brutalize their reproductive organs so that way they can't reproduce?
Of course not. So, my dear viewers, the best way to avoid looking like that is
Don't
just
do it.
not do it.
Yeah.
To just not do it. Oh, speaking of just not do it, how about we get rid of the masks and the lockdowns and stuff?
Yeah. Well,
I'm kind of sick of this COVID 1984 garbage.
that's a new one. I actually haven't heard that one,
Oh my
surprisingly.
gosh, shout out to everybody on BitChute that spams the comment section with that. You guys made it.
I don't read the comments on anything, so
I'm always reading the comments of everything I watch. Don't worry, everybody. Don't worry.
I read our comments, so that's about it.
I'll drop a comment, guys. Tell us what you think about the masturbators.
Go ahead and make fun of me in the comments, then I'll laugh with you. Don't worry. Speaking of authoritarian groups, how about the Democrats?
Ah, man, they have been very quickly shocked by reality,
Snap
and
back
now they're
to
trying to
reality.
put blame.
Well, yeah. I saw recently that they were surprised that, minority communities don't like having the police in their communities cut.
Yeah,
But,
I think I'm a little uniquely qualified to speak on this one, as I have a little bit of, not a lot, a little bit of Spanish heritage. We like the policemen, all right? We
well,
like being safe.
I mean, think about where we grew up in Syracuse. The only people who didn't like the cops in the neighborhood were the Italians because they were all in the mob. Trust me, I knew. I lived by them. And all the gangbangers. Every other person in the city loved having cops around. They didn't like the cops because Syracuse cops are absolute hot garbage, but they enjoyed the idea of police being there to deal with problems.
Yeah, cops can be a little annoying sometimes, but that's literally every human being on planet Earth. If you give
Eh,
them enough time, they will annoy you. I guarantee it.
Oh yeah. Um Actually, down here in Oklahoma, I got pulled over last night. This is just a fun fact about cops. And it's because, it's 4th of July weekend. He was looking for a DUI. He was hoping for it. So he pulled me over from the light above my license plate being out, right? So, like, he was really stretching for the DUI. And, like, he was the most respectful guy. He walks up, he's like, "Hey, I'm an officer. I'm with such and such department." He's like, "Oh, I just want to let you know that your tag light's out." And I'm like, "What? Can you show me?" He's like, "Yeah, let me just see your license real quick." He goes back. He realizes that I haven't had a single beer in like 3 days. And he comes back. And he's like, "Yeah, I'll show you what I'm talking about." So I hop out. And he's like, "Yeah, your light right here is out. Technically, I could pull you over for that." And I'm like, "Well, that's stupid." He's like, "Well, that's that's how it is here." And he let me go because I didn't have anything to drink.
Mm.
But yeah, cops down
You
here
gonna
are
get that light
fantastic.
fixed?
Eventually.
Oh man. So so since we're on the topic of police and Democrats and everything, let's talk about crazy Alexandria Ocasio Cortez, or as
Uh,
some people I know like to call her, Occasional Cortex.
Occasional is too polite. It implies that
That's
it happened.
the only thing that really works with her name, so that's what we have to go with.
The
Anyway,
esteemed, the highly esteemed AOC.
about a week ago, she decided to double down on defunding the police. And she further, within, I think it was an interview she did, she claimed that concerns over these crime waves across the nation are just mere hysteria, which is utterly ridiculous because if you turn on your TV or if you perhaps live in some of these war zones, you can just look out your front window and you can see, huh, that's definitely not right.
Yeah, I mean, there's what was his name? Andy Nago. I don't know how to
No,
pronounce
Andy, no.
Andy. No, I struggle with name pronunciation. Where it's like we're gonna stop anti-Asian hate, except this guy, and then Antifa beats him down anytime they see him and threatens his life on a consistent basis.
I respect the dude for staying in Portland.
Yeah.
Like I would have got out a long time ago, but I definitely respect him staying there. That's
Oh
a
yeah.
man right there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that guy is fighting the good fight, and I respect it. But yeah, so AOC, she's actually having a real cracker of a week. After she complained that her abuela didn't get any money, and the Daily Wire, the heroes that they are, started a GoFundMe, and she shut it down. She actually is petitioning to shut down the coal plants that power most of Puerto Rico.
Ah, yes. Let's drastically drain the wealth of another nation. That's
Well, I,
never not worked out well.
well, what about poor old abuela who's not going to have power now? Not that
Yeah,
AOC ever cared, but
yeah. That's another effect.
yeah, she's
But
having a great time.
but AOC, what are you doing? What are you doing? You had
Yeah,
kind, charitable people giving you money,
dude, they
and you
raised
didn't
like
want it.
they raised over $100,000 in a day to help her grandma.
That's the power of kindness and generosity.
Oh yeah. Uh, But AOC would rather stick on defunding the police and rah rah Republicans bad.
Well, some top Biden officials, I'm sure you know which ones, have been generously heaping praise on the Republicans for defunding the police, which we all know has been a bunch of hogwash.
Well, I don't get how. What I don't understand is how they can go out there and Jen Psaki can even say that while AOC turns around in within a day and says, "I wanted to fund the police more."
One about the crime today. You mentioned expanding
The crime prevention
the crime
rollout.
Prevention, yes, not the crime. But there is a lot of crime in big cities. How do you reduce?
Much of it caused by gun violence. Would you agree?
Yes. So how do you reduce gun violence by expanding employment opportunities, including summer jobs for young people?
Well, first, there's several components of this proposal. One of them is an initial set of actions on gun violence, or an additional set, I should say, of steps on gun violence, which the president feels are important to get guns off the streets, make sure they are not in the hands of people illegally, many of whom are playing a role in violent crime across the country. That's part of his objective. He also wants to provide, as we've seen, has been effective in communities across the country, incentives and alternatives for young people and communities where that has shown to be an effective step.
So is the thought there basically that some criminal who has been committing crimes with limited interruption or interference from police for the last couple of weeks or months is going to stop this easy life of crime if they have a summer job?
Well, I think the president believes that we shouldn't allow access to guns to those criminals who are currently illegally buying them from some dealers across the country. And part of his announcement is taking steps to do exactly that. But part of his announcement is also ensuring there's specific guidance to communities across the country to ensure that they have funding to get more community police around the country. Something that was supported by the American Jobs Plan. That was voted into law by Democrats just a couple of months ago. Some might say that the other party was for defunding the police. I'll let others say that, but that's a piece. Go ahead.
Would you?
Like, is AOC a Republican now? Do I need to switch parties? I'll switch
Yeah,
parties to anything to not be the same party as AOC.
what about Elon Omar? I'm sure you guys can find the clip of her speaking. I think it's in Minneapolis where she says that we want to divest from the police and we need to abolish the Minneapolis Police Department.
What about
Yeah,
the
some Republicans.
I want to say it was in Oakland actually. A bunch of like BLM anti-police protesters held up one of the council members or something until they agreed to terms.
That's wild. I don't even think I heard of that.
Yeah.
Jamie, get that up for it.
No, but yeah, that happened. But so when an angry mob when an angry mob holds up Democrats, it's fine, and it's like, ooh, good on the people for holding up the government. When a bunch of unarmed, angry Republicans hold up the government, this is the worst attack on democracy since 1816, when the British invaded. But
Oh my
remember, you're gonna
god.
need F-16s and nukes to take down the government. But also, an unarmed mob was the scariest thing to happen since I don't know
Since
the
Pearl
the
Harbor.
since the War of 1812, according to the Biden administration.
Dude. The entire administration is just floundering. Do you see what is it? I'm trying to think. I'm sorry guys, I'm blanking. It was a story about I think it was Tucker Carlson said that the NSA was spying on him.
I've
Did
seen
you
that.
see their hilarious response to that?
I didn't quite catch the response because I'm not entirely. My opinions of that are still a little wishy-washy.
Let me see if I can pull that up really quick.
You know me. I'm not exactly a Carlson fan. I think he is a little for for you hating the moderates as much as you do. You really like Tucker Carlson, and I don't understand it.
No, I used to like him in high school, but then again, I thought we all did because we were all edgy back then. I briefly liked him as a TV host because I thought he was one of the ones that was doing a good job. Then I quickly realized no, he's still on television. He's the same as the rest of them, and so I've just kind of gotten off the bandwagon. It's interesting anyway.
Yeah.
Here is here we go. On June 28th, 2021, Tucker Carlson alleged that the National Security Agency had been, quote, monitoring our electric communications and is planning to leak them in an attempt to take the show off the air. This allegation is untrue. Tucker Carlson has never been an intelligence target of the agency, and the NSA has never had any plans to try to take his program off the air. Wow, that's pretty hilarious, if you
I,
ask me. It
I,
seems like they're trying to just deflect everything away.
well, yeah, that's what the government does. Whether they're lying or not, we'll find
Oh
out.
yeah, you can totally trust us. This one singular individual who has notoriety has never been an intelligence target. You can
Yeah.
trust us.
Well, yeah. I mean, I trust the NSA about as far as I can throw them, and as a weak person, I can't throw them very far. But I don't know. Like I said, I'll wait to see something before I make a decision one way or the other on that. But something we do have the information on is how much money we're saving this weekend on our barbecues. 16
Oh yes.
cents. Do you know how much I saved when Trump got into office? Several dollars. You know what he didn't
So
need to do to tell me about it? Tweet.
ladies and gentlemen out there, if you don't know, our wonderful president has recently decided to tweet hilariously. There might be a link in the description if I can find that. Basically saying that we should all be grateful for 16 cents worth of saving for our 4th of July barbecues this year. Excuse me. That is abysmally hilarious, especially when gas prices have gone up, what, easily $1 or more. The
Down
price
here,
just to go, the price just to go save your 16 cents is already offset by your gas cost.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, I've seen gas down here go up 80 cents at least, like
That
70,
must
80
be nice.
cents. I know, right? I mean,
I'm
this
up
is
here in New York, and it's right now about 330 for plus.
you know, I pay 270, 280 for regular, and that's still too much.
Geez, thanks, Biden.
Honestly,
16 cents.
if the media wasn't protecting him, his approval rating would be singular digits.
Yeah, to everybody who believes his approval is like 60 points or greater than that, you need to come back to reality. His approval is probably closer to 50, and that's if I'm being generous.
Yeah.
Pretty much none of the Republican coalition likes him. At least a third of Democrats don't like him, and at least 50% of independents aren't liking him so far. That's
Yeah.
already half the electorate. So,
Speaking of people who don't like him, SCOTUS had a fun landmark case, and as much as Biden doesn't want to say it, his DOJ agreed with SCOTUS. Fun fact.
ooh,
So, for those of you who don't know, a case about Arizona's voting laws that they had just passed, requiring like IDs and whatever, went to the Supreme Court, in which the court ruled 6-3 in favor of Arizona's laws, with Alito delivering the opinion of the court, with Roberts, Thomas, Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and Barrett agreeing. And the dissent was given by Thomas. Um, let's see. Sorry, hang on, I'm just reading. Going to Gorsuch filing, concurring opinion with Thomas. Kagan, sorry, filed a dissenting opinion which Breyer and Sotomayor joined. Notice doesn't make their documents easy to read, like on the fly. But what's really interesting, not the fact that, everyone agrees that we need better voting laws. We agreed on that in 2000 when Florida had so many issues. Is what's more interesting is that in the opinions of the court, there's a little paragraph here that I'd like to read to you all. Quote, in a brief filed in December in support of the petitioners, the Department of Justice proposed one such test but later disavowed the analysis in the brief. The department informed us, however, that it did not disagree with the prior conclusion that the two provisions of Arizona's law at issue in these cases do not violate Section 2 of the Voter Rights Act. So Biden's Department of Justice said, these don't violate the law. There's no case here. And SCOTUS went, you're right. The fact that 3 justices dissented on this is disappointing at best, but
That's
do
all
that.
right, because it seems to me like SCOTUS is actually trying to help out the conservative cause now, which,
Wow.
if you ask me, is always helpful.
It is nice to see, that's for sure. I mean, speak more recently than even the 2020 election, New York City had an issue with their machines. Apparently, they ran like 130,000 test votes and it never cleared them. So when the actual votes came in, there was 130,000 discrepancy votes. So they had to
Oh,
redo
great.
everything.
Oh, great. So you mean that secure elections, the most secure elections in the free world, are held in America? I'm led to believe that, and I'm also led to believe that New York City, one of the largest cities globally, and no less in America, uh, ran into an issue of this magnitude with their voting. I'm led to believe both of those things. Sorry if you guys hear me stammering. It's just I'm trying to wrap my head around this. It just doesn't make any sense to me how we can have the most secure, free, fair elections in the world and of all time, and subsequently have 130,000 votes that are not fraudulent, but like at least non-applicable.
Yeah, you would think. But Blowhard's really trying hard down there, ain't he?
Oh my goodness. I think I saw actually either this morning or yesterday there was some progress reached on the infrastructure bill. And basically what that means is Mitt Romney and like maybe Lisa Murkowski are joining on board the Democrats and want to do it now because they got some money or something.
Probably.
There was actually also another provision in there to bolster the IRS by about 40,000 employees.
They don't need 40,000 employees. They need to be cut by 40,000 employees.
Oh my goodness! Like Joe Biden took a page out of President Obama's book in growing the IRS, who notoriously have a 0 approval rating. You go out, I guarantee, I defy you, go out there. Any one of you listening to us right now, go out there and go find any one person in your neighborhood who likes the IRS. I'll show you a liar.
Yeah. If you can do that, we'll send you something, probably.
Yeah, I'll send you a letter that says, yeah, that person's a liar. You should go let them know the IRS sucks.
Yeah. So, I actually want to switch gears a little bit and talk about something a little bit more interesting to me, maybe not to everybody else, but in the gaming community, specifically in StarCraft 2, one of my favorite games of my entire life, there's this group called Team Liquid. Now, I'm sure anybody who knows gaming has heard of them. They're huge at this point. They've got teams in almost everything. But what a lot of people don't know is they started as a small StarCraft 1 clan back in 2001-ish. And it was a couple guys that just wanted to play games together that grew into this giant empire. Good on them, right? You love to see it. And they, I think, have the right to use their platform in any way they see fit. However, over the last weekend, the weekend before, we were running TSL 7. It's Team Liquid Super League, or Team Liquid Star League 7, right? It's a huge tournament. It's a lot of fun to watch. Great people. And they normally host it on their Twitch channel. Well, they decided that Pride Month was more important than StarCraft. And not just StarCraft, one of their premier tournaments that they host. So they had to change it over to the ESL channel, and so that way they could host their Pride talks, which absolutely baffled my brain because this is like the core thing that they do. They're meant to do StarCraft. That is their number one thing. And they had to get rid of it so that way they could talk about Pride Week and Pride Month. What do you think, Ken?
Yeah. I agree with you that like businesses and organizations and such should have the power to use their platform however they wish. Really, it couldn't bother me any less because I'm doing that right now and I'm actively opposing some people. So,
Yeah.
it'd be pretty hypocritical of me. But on the same token, I I think that maybe the focus should be on one of your largest tournaments of the year that you host in a major game that plenty of people like.
Yeah, and I mean,
I'm pretty sure that might generate more revenue than, no offense, but I'm pretty sure that would generate more revenue than some Pride talk.
I think ESL had something between 7 and 10,000 viewers over the course, like on average, somewhere in there from what I was seeing. But
Wow.
imagine, if you will, us, right? We're a political platform at this point, right? Imagine if it came to election night and you and I went, all of our fans are expecting us to cover this in depth live because it's election night and that's what we do. And instead, we're just going to go play Halo or something, not talk anything about the election because it doesn't matter to us right now. You guys can go watch someone else. You just watch like over there or something. But we want to play Halo. It's like, that's not what we're meant to do because it's not what our platform is.
Yeah, overall, I agree with you on all that. And while we're on the topic of platforms, if I may just take the reins from you here, I have something I'd like to discuss as well.
Of course.
You guys, if you are readers of our articles, may have noticed on Sunday, this will not be going up for just a little bit. You will have noticed that on Sunday, I released an article titled something like Trump joining New Tech or something like that. Uh, and he did. It's very good thing. He joined Rumble. You can go find him. I will definitely leave a link for that in the description below because I want to generate as much, uh, I guess it's traction now, is what people say. I want to generate as many views as I can for him. I want to help the Don out. He helped me and he helped my friends out, so it's the least I could do. Uh, but let me talk a little bit about New Tech because I didn't do so well in the article. I don't think. New Tech is the burgeoning sort of technical sphere that is looking to supplant the big tech oligarchs that exist right now. So your places like Rumble, BitChute, Odyssey, Library, your social media sites like Parler and Gab, those are all new tech sites. And your legacy media sites are like your CNNs, your YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, so on and so forth. Okay. So Trump has now decided to take a stand against corporate censorship and join New Tech. And this is immensely great because now in the New Tech world, we have a very, very, very influential, very powerful, very wealthy man on our side. I do believe that this will be the death knell to the legacy media sites like Fox, CNN, the cable news sites, YouTube, and such. Maybe not YouTube because they're pretty big, but it will definitely hurt them. And the last thing I'd like to talk about before I hand it back to Tim here is I want to talk about Joe Biden's official White House YouTube account and how poorly it did versus Trump's first video, which I found absolutely hilarious. It was something like 7 videos, something like that. Actually, out of 440, garnered a higher view count than Trump's one video on a nearly dead platform that has nearly no traction. Like 10 or 15 of them have greater than 100,000 views. And if you guys think that I'm kidding, you can all go on to the official White House YouTube channel, sort by views, and check for yourselves.
That's
Most of those
incredible.
videos, though, were just after the election, which is equally hilarious because that would be everybody who had just voted for Joe, which also means, if you're following here, that plenty of people are not approving of his job. They don't see him as a very capable leader.
Well, he's not, so there's that.
Remember, people don't believe the polls that have him at like 60%, 58%, because those are hogwash. Those are push polls.
Well, I think since it's 4th of July weekend, I think we should end on a more interesting note about, freedom as a whole, the 4th of July, what it means to us,
All right, I like that. Very interesting. Very interesting.
So, what does 4th of July mean to you, Ken?
I grew up with a dad who served in the army. He was shot overseas and survived.
Yeah, your
So
dad's
for
pretty
us,
badass.
yeah, you've met him. He can be pretty intense sometimes.
True. That's
The
also
fourth
true.
the 4th of July for us in our house is it's a huge day. Like, we don't even celebrate the whole weekend because we think the day is so important. The day that we took our independence from the Brits, not
Yeah.
declared it, we took it from them. We have so much reverence for this day. And it's not like we idolize it, right? We just look forward to it coming every year. The barbecues, the fireworks, and everything, and just everybody enjoying the freedoms that we still have today, and looking forward to fighting for more.
That's incredible. Personally, I've always found it interesting because it's one of those things that, where we grew up, maybe not so much your dad specifically, but like the area we grew up in is not exactly a patriotic area, as I would refer to it. So, yes, I've always loved the 4th of July, but not a lot of people around there do, besides just as a day to drink. In the same way that most people are like, oh, we're Irish on St. Patrick's Day because we go out and get drunk.
Where people are Spanish on Cinco de Mayo for the free tacos.
Yeah. So, yeah, my opinions of it are strong, to say the least. But I've always enjoyed the 4th of July, and I've always thought that the documents that, specifically the Declaration of Independence, being one of the most important documents in the history of the world, showing that you can just say you're doing wrong by us, the people, and we're gonna do something about it.
The Declaration of Independence is a very powerful document, if you ask me. Just straight up saying, yeah, we don't like you anymore. We're gonna do our own thing. We can run the show. We got this. It's okay. That there's just something badass about that.
Yeah. Let's see. Like, we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, and among them are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Amen.
Yep. That
Amen.
that is rung through for over 200 years, and it's gonna keep ringing true as long as I can fight for it.
And long after I can't fight for it.
Hopefully,
Hell yeah.
if we do everything right, that's the best we can hope for.
I'd like to very quickly talk about the Constitution. You
Of
can't talk
course.
about important American documents without that. I happen to think that it is probably the most incredible piece of jurisprudence that man has ever assembled. For those of you who may not know, jurisprudence is simply the study of law, like how to apply it, sort of the philosophy of law, what makes laws good, what makes them fair, and so on and so on. Studied by very smart people sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, Hamilton, an absolute visionary, and honestly, it's a shame that all you think like that nobody really thinks about him anymore. Like,
Yeah, nobody
obviously,
even gives him credit as the treasurer who helped us get out of debt.
yeah. I think that the musical Hamilton, whether or not whatever you think of, Lin Manuel Miranda and his political opinions aside, I think that that musical was one of the most important things that could have happened because I think Hamilton is one of the most important founding fathers.
I'm glad you agree. I found that there is a book written by a Mr. Ron Chernow. It actually is about Alexander Hamilton, titled Hamilton, just Hamilton.
Yes.
I actually want to buy that soon.
If I'm
Hopefully I can
correct,
get
that's
it.
the book that inspired Lin-Manuel Miranda to write the musical.
Wow. It's
I
a
know it was,
small world.
yeah, it was one of the books like that. I'm pretty sure that was the one, but I'd have to double check. But yeah,
I'm
so
listening through Washington right now by Ron Chernow. I definitely recommend you guys read that or listen to it on Audible or whatever platform you use for your audiobook. Very good book.
interesting. I'll have to give that a look. Well, that about does it for us this week. I hope you've enjoyed listening, Ken. Thank you for your time. I appreciate recording with you as always.
It's always good to host the show with you. I always look forward to speaking with you.
Well, I hope you all have a great 4th of July. Have a beer, throw some fireworks, shoot some ammo. Just enjoy the freedom that we've been given. And remember what it cost.
God bless you all. God bless America. God bless our troops.
Bye-bye.